Man blood.
After my last R research video, the one about lickers and their genitals, I received a lot of positive feedback from the RE community, especially from those sick fucks over at Reddit. With their ball-stomping Lady Dimitrescu fantasies, they introduced me to the world of Rule 34, a world of endless possibilities, where anything can happen, where heroes and villains, friends and foes can set aside differences and pork one another. It really opened my eyes to the potential this series still has to offer, and the directions this series can go. Just kidding, it was sick and disgusting, but Mr.T-Virus sure loved it.
Sure did. Make me a Jill sandwich.
So, Mr.T-Virus asked me to compile a list of Resident Evil's top 10 most effable creatures.
Effable? I didn't say effable. I said fuckable.
I don't think we can say that on YouTube.
Most frickable?
What about bangable? Top 10 most bangable creatures of Resident Evil. Now, before I get into this list, I just wanted to point out that there was no real criteria for selecting these creatures, seeing how everyone has different preferences, and for the most part, the creatures in the series are usually sexless. So, I selected creatures that I believe have other orifices than just their mouths. And this list isn't exclusive to just female creatures. Mr.T-Virus is a bisexual, looking to spread his virus to as many beings as he can, so he doesn't limit his options to any specific gender.
Ah, put the bi in biohazard.
Yeah, you keep saying that. So heads up, you may see some dudes on this list. And no, Joe Biden, there will not be any children in this video.
Come on, man. Give me a little break here.
Amateurs.
So, let's begin. Number 10, Rachel Foley from Resident Evil Revelations. It is unknown if Rachel Foley is related to Gina Foley from Revelations 2, but what is known is that I want to see Rachel Foley naked. God damn, look at her. Ever wonder what it'd be like to make Whoopi to a sea anemone? I mean, a sea anemone with honkers? Rachel was already looking hot before she died, but after being infected with the T.A.B.S. virus, Rachel mutated from a 7 to a solid 10, all thanks to her newfound ability. She's able to pop her head off and suck you with just her throat.
It's like a deep throat, without all the stuff in the way.
Rachel would be ranked higher on this list, but Mr.T-Virus said she talks too much.
Kill you.
But just get her to pop her head off and you won't be complaining. Or maybe you will. She is a blood-sucking monster after all, who smells like fish sticks. Number 9, Carla Rademus, Resident Evil 6. Carla makes her debut at a birthday party, popping out of a cake. Flopping out of a cake, as if the stripper was baked inside. Carla, also known as Ada Wang, is an imposter Ada, created by Derek Simmons. He cloned the real Ada because the real Ada refused to make sex with him.
Now I get it.
And it's unclear if he ever got that far with Carla, but judging by his actions, I'm gonna guess she didn't put out for him either. But just because she rejected this loser, it doesn't make her any less of a survival whore. Mr. T-Virus, what's that nickname you gave Carla?
Bukkake Carla.
Yeah, talk about bukkake. Honestly, I don't even think I can describe or make jokes about what happens to her when she gets excited, at least not here on YouTube. She looks like the Stay Puft Marshmallow made sex to a battleship. Carla is one hot mess, but I'd go for it just for the slim chance of hooking up with twins.
Get over yourself.
Number 8, Mamma Mia, Resident Evil 7. If you're the kind of person to ignore all the red flags and warning signs and stick your joystick in crazy, or if you just have a babysitter fantasy, then Mia Winters is the girl for you. Mia is looking to screw you, quite literally. There will never be a dull moment between you two. That is, until the knife she's repeatedly stabbing you with goes dull. But if that happens, you can just switch to the hatchet and make some extra axe wounds on her if you need to change it up a bit, or you just want to invite some friends to join in. Just steer clear of her daddy. If he catches you sneaking in and out of her room, he'll chop your junk off and feed it to you.
That boy's got to eat. He got to have his supper.
Shit, he's not eating it, Jack!
Number 7. Alex Weissker, Resident Evil Revelations 2. Be careful with this one. Alex will blow your mind. Fear gets her off, but not her own fear, your fear. Just look at what she did to her butler. Looks like some asphyxiation gone wrong, or right depending what you're into. And Alex used to have it all. The looks, the brains, the income, but now all she has is this kinky Russian BDSM torture island. But that's not the kinkiest thing about her. Nope, that would be her crooked ass back. You see, she caught a case of the superscoliosis, and she's looking for someone to straighten that back out for her. But don't take things too far. If she ends up like her butler, you'll have to wait for her to become legal age again.
Now you can call me Alex.
Get out of here, Joe Biden.
Come on, man. What are we talking about?
Number 6. Deborah Harper, Resident Evil 6. Deborah is Helena Harper's sister. Honestly, it was almost a tie for the number 6 spot with another creature from Resident Evil 6. I almost gave it to the fart tip monster, but I decided to go with Deborah because she has better boobs and doesn't smell like farts.
What is that thing?
You're asking me?
Also, Deborah is quality titty over quantity. Anyway, Deborah's love is like a roller coaster. If you could ride them butt naked, she'll take you on a wild ride while her sister watches you unload on her. And because of her mutation, she's constantly secreting some lube-like substance that could be a plus or a negative, not sure. Other than that, she's waxed and she wears her birthday suit well. Probably the only good thing to come from Resident Evil 6. Number 5. Got a thing for bondage? How about roleplay? What about a mother-daughter fantasy at the same time? If you said yes to any or all of these, then Lisa Trevor is the grotesque girl for you. She may be butt ugly, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind putting on a different face for you. And if the face thing is a turnoff, you can still stare into each other's eyes if you choose to hit it from behind. That's right, Lisa has sprouted eyes on her back, so be careful where you aim. Also, Lisa has her own romantic candlelit bedroom, which makes for a comfortable setting to get face f***ed in.
Is that it?
Well, she also has tentacles.
Now you're talking.
Number 4. The Regis Liquor, Resident Evil Outbreak. Regis is the best of both worlds. Half woman, half liquor, completely immobile and suspended from the ceiling. Regis can lick you in those hard-to-reach places, like those more than elbow-deep to reach places. She also wears some pretty revealing clothing too. Too hot for YouTube.
Nice and perky.
You want to talk about perks? Regis is already at the hotel that charges by the hour. She's like a dog with no legs. You'll find her where you left her, so no running around to track her down. Just don't pull on her hair though. She's already lost enough as it is. Number 3. Nemesis, Resident Evil 3. Nemesis is what I call unnatural male enhancement. This guy is the ultimate form of phallic symbolism. Just look at him. He's a one-eyed monster with the skin of a scrotum, erect and wrapped in torn plastic, in a suit that failed to contain him. So be careful when his rubber snaps. He starts spitting STDs everywhere. Even Jill was infected. And just look at his name backwards. It spells out sea semen, which is Spanish for sea semen. Don't believe me? Just ask Carlos. But none of this useless information is why he made the spot on this list. Nope, he got this spot because what Nemesis lacks in blowjob lips, he makes up for with his tentacle whips. Just be careful sucking on them. Number 2. Morpheus Duval, Resident Evil Dead Aim. Morpheus is a French ladyboy terrorist. I don't know what its pronouns are, because he comes from a time when gender was still based in science and they had just started turning the frogs gay. Anyway, don't act like this androgynous being wouldn't cause you to do a double take.
Oh my god, there's Morpheus!
Morpheus was obsessed with being beautiful. That's why he got real fake tits, unlike Alfred who's always stuffing his sister's bras.
Cross-dressing freak!
Whoa, Claire. I believe the correct term is tranny.
I don't think you're allowed to say that either anymore.
What? I am a tranny.
No, you're a tyrant.
You sure about that? Why don't you take a look for yourself? Yeah, here you go. Take it in. Don't share this with nobody.
Whoops, looks like we lost the connection with Mr.T-Virus. Anyway, Morpheus became a terrorist after being used as a scapegoat for Umbrella for the Arklay Mansion incident. I think Umbrella created this ruse to fire him without getting sued. Umbrella had already destroyed an entire city. Could you imagine the negative PR if they fired a transgendered foreigner? I do believe they had good reason though. High heels on hunters in the field is not very practical. But let's get back to the sex stuff. Right after Morpheus reveals his tits to Bruce, Bruce immediately unloads on Morpheus's face. An electric spark happens between them, which excites him, and when Morpheus gets excited, his voice drops, which is kind of a turnoff.
Shame on you, Bruce. A good agent would never risk his mission to save a woman. That's going to be a very costly mistake.
But what happens next completely makes up for it. Morpheus mutates into a giant whack-a-mole game, a biological weapon playing peekaboo out its own buttholes. Imagine that, a mouth and a butt at the same time. But in the end, Bruce decided to be with Fong Ling instead of fondling Morpheus. Now, before I reveal my number one pick for most bangable creature in Resident Evil, here are some honorable mentions. The West Wing Beanstalk, Resident Evil 2. Don't tell me you've never wanted to flick these beans. It's too bad they weren't around for the Resident Evil 2 remake. And another from RE2, William Birkin, Final Form. This dude looks like every inappropriate picture I drew as a child combined into one image. You got the dick nose, the tit eyes, or the ball eyes, and the anus mouth, making a face. The only thing missing is a pubic hair mustache. And then we got Tank Top Girl from Resident Evil 2, everyone's favorite. And don't forget the fart tit monster, making one last pass of gas. And what else? Oh yeah, the Scissor Sisters from Resident Evil 4, which just leaves us with number 1, Alexia Ashford, Resident Evil Code Veronica. Alexia is the clone of Veronica because Veronica was just that hot. People still wanted to bang her after 100 years. Even Alexia's twin brother wants her so bad, he dresses up like her to get off in the mirror. And I remember when this game came out. I was in the 7th grade when I saw Alexia walking down that staircase. It was as if time slowed down. The only thing on my mind was, I want to see her boobs. And then bam, the next thing I know, all of her clothes are burning off. That's how hot she is. She can't even wear clothes.
Hi, Brad. You know how cute I always thought you were.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the nostalgia for me, but she's always been my number 1. Creature, that is. It was the first time I'd ever been so close to a fully naked lady. I just stood there. It was as if she was reading my mind, because she started choking me. The only downside to Alexia is she's constantly bleeding everywhere. You'd think she'd schedule her return after being asleep for 15 years on a week that wasn't that time of the month, you know? Also, she's into bondage and maybe some brother-sister stuff. She can tangle you up in her tentacles, staple blindfolds on you, or lock you up in her sex dungeon.
D, what'd I miss? I got disconnected.
Alexia from Code Veronica was my number 1 spot.
Damn, I have a Code Veronica for her, if you know what I mean.
No. Seeing as we just saw your sexless Ken doll groin, I do not know what you mean. Anyway, that's it for my top 10 most f***able creatures of Resident Evil. If you made it to the end of this video, or actually enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button. Also, I've created a Twitch channel. You can find a link on my banner. And make sure to check out my Patreon page to become a member of the R.E.T.A.R.S. What's R.E.T.A.R.S? It stands for Resident Evil Tyrant Alpha Raccoon Degeneration Squad. It's an elite Mr.T-Virus fan club that gets exclusive content, early access, shoutouts, and much more, starting at $1 a month. And in case you missed it, check out my Project Redfield video. It's all about Chris Redfield and how evil he is. Thanks.